What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with a review for Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 4. Now, the guy said Season 3, Episode 29. Y'all got to get y'all ish together. But this is Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 5, Episode 14. Episode is titled So Disrespectful. So before we go ahead and get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel and you guys aren't yet subscribed to the channel, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. Do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning your post notifications on, and sharing the video, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's discuss Love and Marriage Huntsville, shall we? All right, you guys, so you guys know Love and Marriage DC, that returns on January the 21st, and then Ready to Love is going to be back on January the 6th. So we're going to be busy. Now, like I told you guys last week, Love and Marriage DC is on a trial basis on this channel. On my channel, it's on a trial basis now. With Jeremy, he and I are going to do it together. I think he's going to do it as a live. We shall see, you guys. Oh, y'all know how I feel about lives. Y'all know how I feel about them, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, let's talk about this episode, shall we? So this episode, wasn't really much to it. Very little happened in this episode. When is the season finale and when is the reunion? If Love and Marriage DC is coming on the 21st, Jesus, how many more episodes do we have left before the reunion? Because Love and Marriage Huntsville just is not giving me anything to talk about. But let's go ahead and talk about it. So this episode, we first opened up with Marceau and Letitia, right? I don't really need my notes for this part because I can remember it. So Marceau and Letitia, they are having, they do date night, date day. So they're having a date at Black, right? So Tisha comes down and she joins Marceau. And, they're talking about the trip. And then, she talks about the fact that Martell is in the blogs because of who he was, seeing with Sheree. We all know it, right? So when she mentioned Martell, that's when Marceau decided, well, you know what, since you mentioned Martell, I've invited Mel down here. And she was like, you did what now? And I was actually on Letitia's. Most times, you guys know I'm not on Letitia's side at all, but in this particular moment, I was on Letitia's side because I definitely understood her frustration, right? This is a date night, date day, and here you are inviting Melody down to talk to Melody. Why? Why not? And then she was like, he said, he texted her. She's like, why are you texting her? He says, well, my assistant texted her. Okay, why are you texting her? And I got Letitia's standpoint. You're texting Melody and she's coming down here and I knew nothing about it until now. Why did you wait? Like, I got her frustration. Why wait? Why not tell me when you reached out to her? Say, hey, Tisha, I reached out to Melody. I wanted to talk to her about the meetup that Maurice and I had with Mark. And, Letitia be like, okay, when you gonna meet up with her? Now, granted, Marceau did say that Melody said, well, she was free that day, so he told her to come by. Still, why didn't you run this by your wife? So Letitia telling Marceau that that's very disrespectful of him. And I'm like, I honestly agree with her. That is disrespectful. Like, why would you invite her here? And this is supposed to be our date day. Like, I was on Letitia's side, right? So they were arguing. Like, she was basically trying to explain to him why that's disrespectful. And then he brought up, well, it wasn't disrespectful. You went and had, met up with Martell. And Letitia was like, there's a huge difference between me meeting up with Martell and you meeting up with Melody. Me meeting up with Martell was to see if he, to talk about him buying back into school. You meeting with Melody is strictly personal. And I also agree with Letitia when she said the fact that, you're meeting up with Melody, a woman who has been saying that I am her enemy. He's like, but we went to Destin and we had dinner and I thought things were good. She says we're cordial. So then Marceau was like trying to sit here and say to Letitia that, well, when you say you're going to be cordial with someone, that means you want to be friends with them. No, that's not what cordial means. Cordial means that I can sit in the same room with you, we can have conversations, and we don't have to, it doesn't have to be any bickering, any animosity. It can be peaceful, it can be copacetic. It doesn't mean that you and I have to be friends with one another. That's not what it means to be cordial with a person. Cordial means I can walk into the room, I have an issue with you. Hi Mel, hi Tisha. That's it. We go our separate. We go around, and it just doesn't have to be this. Oh, why that bitch here? Oh, that bitch here. Like, it doesn't have to be that. So the fact that Marceau was sitting there trying to tell her all of that stuff, I was like, God, there is absolutely no way on earth that I could have a conversation with Marceau Scott, because he feels. It's the chauvinistic side of him too, because I feel like sometimes he talks down to Letitia, and she never just stands up to him 100%. That's my personal opinion. You guys can agree or disagree, but that's just how I feel. But like I said, ultimately in this particular scene, I was Team Letitia. Team Letitia, for once. So let's pause here and move forward, you guys. All right, you guys, so the next scene is Martell. He's meeting up with Chris Fletcher. So they're going to go look at a venue. So you guys know that Martell did his wine launch in Atlanta for Inez, that incest one, as I call it, incest. So now he's bringing it back to Huntsville. So he's looking at a venue. And when I saw that venue, I was like, this venue, I'm like, this looks very industrial. It looks old and industrial. And this doesn't scream a wine launch. This screams hoedown. Like, it screams hoedown to me, but hey. And then I had to ask myself the question. I'm like, JB, you being funny, but what is the budget? And now that's not me being funny. What is the budget? Because I had to think about it. Martell probably doesn't have a very big budget, but then this is the show. So I was thinking, cause like I know like when it comes to, well, this is, we ain't even finna bring it up. I was about to say with Housewives, but this is not Housewives. Speaking of Housewives, you guys, I gotta watch episodes 1 through 4 of Real Housewives of Miami, and I'm going to put those up. I'm going to try to watch episode 1 tonight at the Potomac. So we might have Miami and Potomac up at the same time. And then over the course of the next few days, leading up until next Thursday, when the next episode drops, I'm going to get back to the review on Real Housewives of Miami. But yeah, I was about to talk about, let's talk about this. So this scene I could have done without too. So Martell is talking to Chris about the fact that they went to Destin, him and Mel. And, you know, he's asking, I don't understand why people want Melody and Martell to get back together. Have y'all not saw what we saw over the last few seasons, how toxic that relationship is? And you want them to get back together? Why? You must love toxicity, because it just doesn't make any sense, right? So also, Chris Fletcher asked Martell, is Uncle Sam coming to the wine launch? And he says yes. You guys remember at the last one, Uncle Sam was pissed off at Martell about that, that speech that he gave. So Martell said he was upset at him for about a week, and his mom reached out to him. They talked to each other. So Uncle Sam is definitely coming. You better have a good speech prepared. So Martell then also told Chris Fletcher about the fact that Marceau and Letitia came down to Destin, and that, things are good, I guess. So Chris is like, he want to have a conversation with Marceau, because Marceau, you guys remember that whole Atlanta trip. Remember when allegedly there was a picture of Marceau's wide back, right? So remember, Marceau said that he was in Atlanta with Chris Fletcher. Chris says that was true, that they were in Atlanta together, but they were only together about 2 hours. I don't know how long it takes to get to Atlanta from, Huntsville, Alabama, but don't really care, right? Now, here's my thing. Here's where Martell kind of lost me, right? So Martell was in his interview with the producers talking about this situation with Martell, not Martell, but with Marceau, right? And my thing is, Martell, you're sitting here trying to say you're trying to blame social media. Social media is not the blame for the shit that's going on with Marceau. It's you, because you in season 1 alluded to 20 women. 20 women. 20 women. So people have been running with that narrative since then. So anytime Marceau is with any woman, they're gonna assume he's cheating, right? So you kicked this shit up. So let's stop playing like it was all social media. It is not. And then somebody alleged that the woman that one of the women that he's supposedly had an affair with was your cousin Mel's hairdresser, and also she was the one that's supposed to have the kid by him. Am I wrong? Now you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Again, you guys know I don't keep up with the social media shit for Love and Marriage Huntsville, but I do remember that one because I know my cousin sent me a video about that where, and if I'm not mistaken, didn't Marceau and Letitia get on live with that woman and she said that they weren't having an affair? Social media for Love and Marriage Huntsville is his own cast member. Let's pause here and let's move forward, you guys. All right, you guys, so I actually think we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. So Melody, she finally came down in there to see Marceau, right? So Marceau wants to tell Melody about this conversation with Mark. Now, I don't know I can't remember what the conversation, well, I can. The conversation that Marceau and Maurice had with Mark didn't really consist of anything dealing with Melody. It was more so about Miss Vanessa. Because Melody asked him, did Mark say anything directly about her? He says, about her mother, she says, that has nothing to do with me. Tell me what he said about me so that she can address it, right? But he didn't say anything about Melody. It was more so about her mom. And even the last interview that I saw where Mark was being interviewed by, he was interviewed by Scotty, Josiah, and Terrence. Even in that interview, which was, God, I don't know how they sat there and listened to that man talk for as long as they did. But even in that interview, he wasn't really talking about Mel. He was talking about Miss Vanessa and their relationship with one another. And I don't care to reiterate anything that he said, regurgitate none of that. We let Mark be where Mark is, right? But so yeah, Mark really didn't say anything about Melody, or it was like I said, it's always about Miss Vanessa. Any interview that I've saw, now he does sometimes mention Melody, but most times his grievance is with Miss Vanessa. And I think, for me, these are my personal opinions about Mark. Mark is scorned. Mark is hurt that Miss Vanessa didn't want to claim the relationship with him and her. Can you say you blame her? Not necessarily. Mark is just like the rest of his brothers, from what we see. Actually, I think he's worse, but I mean, like I said, nah. So, to wrap up the episode, we see the comeback crew. So they're together. So Marceau is going to be cooking. So we got Letitia, Kimmy, Maurice, and Marceau there together. So, Kimmy is telling them about, her journey. And side note, I did see that she recently rang the bell. So congratulations to Kimmy. We're going to pray that you stay on the men's and just send you nothing but love and light. So Marceau and Letitia talked about them traveling to Destin. They came here to Dallas and some other places, right? They talked about the fact that Melody and Martell were in, they went to Pensacola. They were in Destin. They talked about going to visit them and how things look like it's good between Melody and Martell for the time being. So then the question came up about, how Letitia asked Maurice, if somebody who wasn't friends with Kimmy and claimed him as an enemy, would you then invite them to lunch? No, why would you do that? But Kimmy says it ain't even about the enemy thing. She told Maurice before they got married. Okay. That's very loud. So she told Maurice, I lost my train of thought hearing that big ass thud. So she told Maurice that, him going out with a woman, let her know, like, even if it is a friend, she don't want to find out basically like through other people to come to her and say, oh, girl, guess what? I saw Maurice and he was at this restaurant with this woman. Things like that, right? So then Martell showed up. I don't know what Martell had on, but okay, sir. So then they talk about him having the YouTubers jumping and the fact that, you know, he was out with Sheree. So he says he and Sheree are just friends and that, you know, they met through a mutual friend. Then Melody showed up and that's when Kimmy revealed to everybody that, you know, she was diagnosed with breast cancer and, you know, everybody rallied around Kimmy. And that was really the gist of the episode, you guys. Like I said, it really wasn't a whole lot that happened. Again, I'm just asking when the hell is the season finale because it's long. It's a long season. But that's it, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Drop down in the comment section, subscribe to the channel, turn your post notifications on. You guys share the video. And until the next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.